Welcome to the Deep Dive. If you're currently eyeing business school, well, you definitely know the quest is often dominated by those three letters, MBA. But the real mission, and what we're tackling today, is figuring out what truly makes the best global MBA school. It's got to be more than just chasing the most famous brand name, right? We've pulled together a really great stack of sources for you. They break down the essential criteria for global excellence, profile the top contenders, and importantly, look at the rapidly changing landscape of business education. Our goal for you, the listener, is pretty straightforward. By the end of this dive, you should know exactly how to find the school that fits your specific global business goals.
Exactly. We're not just hunting for a school with a high ranking, though that's often part of it. We are looking for institutions that genuinely excel at turning students into effective, global business leaders. People who don't just manage what's already there, but who are really equipped to make tough decisions and drive change, often in markets that are, let's face it, volatile and ambiguous.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that right away. Before we even start naming names, we need some kind of benchmark. What are, say, the 5 defining qualities that truly set the world's elite MBA schools apart from the ones that are just, well, very good?
Okay, so we've distilled the sources down into 5 key pillars. These really represent a balance between the hard data and that softer institutional power. First off, you absolutely must have academic excellence. We're talking tough classes here, strategy, leadership training, and a constant focus on generating genuinely new ideas. Second, it's global exposure. This means programs need multinational campuses, real exchange opportunities, and a truly diverse student body. Often drawing from 90 or more countries, you really need that global reality baked into the classroom experience itself.
That diversity is absolutely crucial because, well, that's just the reality of modern global business, isn't it? But, if you're investing maybe 2 years of your life and a lot of money, you need results. So what about the network and career side of things?
Right, that brings us neatly to points 3 and 4. Third is a strong alumni network. And look, this is the long-term investment, right? It's the ability to instantly connect with influential mentors, maybe potential investors, and crucially, direct executive job opportunities, pretty much wherever you go in the world. Fourth is demonstrable career outcomes. We're talking high placement rates, yes, but also access to the world's top companies. Think tech giants like Amazon and Google, financial powerhouses like Goldman Sachs, or the big consulting firms like McKinsey.
Yeah.
And then the fifth factor, which is vital, cutting-edge research. Look, if a school isn't pioneering new studies in finance or, say, global strategy or tech, then you're basically just learning history. When you choose an elite school, you want to be learning stuff today that's going to define the markets tomorrow.
That's a fantastic framework. Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Let's dive into the actual schools that consistently lead these global rankings. We should note their specific strengths and maybe format differences because those details really matter for finding your personal fit.
Absolutely. The top-tier schools, they all hit those 5 criteria we just discussed, but they definitely specialize. Let's look at 5 major players that are consistently ranked globally, starting with, well, the classic, Harvard Business School in the U.S., HBS. It really remains a gold standard for training leaders who go on to change industries. A key thing about them is they rely very heavily on the case study method. This is crucial. Instead of just lectures, students analyze hundreds of real, often messy, complex business problems, and they're forced to make immediate decisions and then defend them in front of everyone. It's very much learning by doing, designed specifically to stress test future leaders. And the network. HBS boasts over 85,000 global alumni. Average post-MBA salary is around $210,000.
Okay, compare that model to something like the hyper-international option, INSEAD. They've got campuses in France, Singapore, Abu Dhabi. It almost feels like they're built for speed.
They're literally known as the business school for the world. And their student body is exceptionally diverse, drawing from over 90 countries consistently. But what truly sets them apart is the format. It's a very fast-paced, compressed 10-month program. The focus is intensely on international management and entrepreneurship. So if minimizing that opportunity cost, being out of the workforce, is your top priority, INSEAD offers a very different value proposition compared to the traditional 2-year American model.
Right, that time difference is huge. Speaking of the U.S. model, though, next up is the Stanford Graduate School of Business, GSB, right there in the heart of innovation land.
Correct. Stanford GSB is, well, intrinsically linked to the Silicon Valley entrepreneurial ecosystem. You can't really separate them.
Yeah.
Their focus is heavily on innovation and leadership aimed at making a tangible difference. Their average post-MBA salary is listed right at the very top, somewhere around $220,000 last I checked. And their core value is famously change lives, change organizations, change the world.
Change the world. That's a bold claim, isn't it? How does that actually translate in the real world? I mean, does a $220,000 average salary guarantee changing the world, or does it mostly guarantee changing the graduate's personal bank account?
Huh. Well, that's the exact tension, isn't it? That defines a top MBA experience. While the salary is certainly a metric of market demand and corporate opportunity, the GSB experience really tries to instill a culture of impact. Their proximity to venture capital, to disruptive technology, it means their graduates are often expected to launch companies that fundamentally shift markets, not just, slot neatly into existing corporate roles. The school selection process itself is explicitly looking for people who are already thinking on that kind of global, impactful scale.
Okay, I see. Now, let's hop across the Atlantic. We find the London Business School, LBS.
Right? LBS offers really strong ties to European finance and global management. A key feature is flexibility in their program length. It runs anywhere from 15 to 21 months. That really appeals to students who might need a more customized academic journey, their main strength, providing direct access to top European recruiters. And that's supported by a very strong alumni network, over 47,000 people across 150 countries.
Impressive reach. And rounding out this top group you've highlighted is Wharton at the University of Pennsylvania. What's their angle?
Wharton is really distinguished by its intensive focus on quantitative analysis. Think data-driven decision-making. They excel in areas like finance, analytics, and strategic management. They're also historic, holding the distinction of being the first collegiate business school in the world. Their graduates command strong salaries too, average around $205,000 post-MBA.
Okay, so we've got these powerhouses, but we absolutely have to mention that rankings are never static. They shift. How do we keep this list of schools in perspective for listeners?
That is essential, absolutely. While these five are, perennial leaders, the exact order constantly shifts depending on the metrics being used by the ranking body. For example, recent reports like the QS Global MBA rankings for 2025 actually put Stanford GSB at #1, then Wharton, then HBS, and you've got other key players like MIT Sloan and HEC Paris right up there too. It's really crucial to see these lists not as some definitive, absolute hierarchy, but more as guides reflecting different underlying values. Some rankings might value entrepreneurship more heavily, others might weigh alumni earning power more.
Right, so it's not just about the number. So what does this all mean for someone who's actively trying to choose a school right now? How do they avoid that trap of just chasing the #1 rank on some list?
Yeah, that's the key question. Personal fit will always outweigh a raw ranking number, especially when you consider how tightly clustered these top schools often are in terms of quality. We generally advise listeners to run through 3 key questions as they assess these different institutions. First, geographic focus and industry specialization. Where do you actually want to build your primary network? Do you need that deep dive into really local business ties like, say, the U.S. tech scene via Stanford or European finance through LBS? Or do you require maximum global fluidity, the kind that schools like INSEAD really provide?
And second, which relates directly to that specialization, is your intended career path.
Right.
The core strengths of these schools will align directly with your postgraduate outcomes, presumably. Are you aiming for high finance? Or maybe the entrepreneurial chaos of a startup? Or perhaps high-level consulting, which demands that kind of rigorous strategy training HBS is known for?
Exactly. And the third question is one that's often overlooked, but it's critical. Program length and opportunity cost. Are you genuinely ready for a 2-year commitment? That offers things like summer internships and maybe a slightly slower pace for deep specialization like you find at HBS or Stanford. Or does your career trajectory or maybe your personal finances demand a more compressed, high-speed 1-year experience, like those 10-month programs which minimize your time out of the workforce?
That decision on program length, yeah, that directly impacts the return on investment calculation, both the tangible financial return and the, well, intangible benefits too.
Indeed. Actually, Dr. Sylvia Lamb of INSEAD sums up this philosophical choice perfectly. She argues that picking the right MBA is, quote, less about the brand and more about the ecosystem it offers. Networking, mentorship, and real-world experience are what make a program great. It's that ecosystem, she says, that generates the true long-term return.
Okay, let's talk more about that ROI. We definitely see the impressive tangible returns, the salaries, the placement rates. Our sources consistently show that more than 90% of graduates from these top programs find jobs within just 3 months of graduating, and frequently landing at those huge names: McKinsey, Goldman Sachs, Amazon, Google.
True. But the personal growth side, that intangible return, that's arguably what sustains leadership over decades. Beyond the high placement rates and the salary bumps, the MBA experience gives you those lifelong global connections and, critically, the confidence needed to actually lead effectively in complex, often messy global markets.
I often wonder how a structured academic program actually teaches confidence. That seems like something only maybe real-world failure can truly teach.
That's a fair point. But it's taught indirectly by forcing you into those high-stress decision-making environments we talked about,
Mm.
like the case study method at HBS. Arjun Mehta, who's a partner at McKinsey and an HBS grad, he articulated this really well. He said something like, the difference between a good B school and the best is how it changes how you make decisions when you're under stress.
Mm.
The program provides the intellectual framework, the tools to help you avoid paralysis when the market signals aren't clear, when the path forward is murky.
Ah, okay. That capacity to actually change decision-making under stress. That makes sense. That's the essence of why these programs likely remain so valuable. Let's shift our focus completely now, though. What is the landscape of MBA education going to look like in, say, the next 5 years? What changes are these top schools having to embrace right now to stay relevant?
Oh, the pressures for transformation are immense. We're seeing, I'd say, three fundamental shifts being integrated right into the core curriculum as we speak. First, definitely the rise of hybrid MBA models, blending intensive online modules with high-touch, in-person study weeks or residencies. This massively increases flexibility and potentially global accessibility. Second is the really urgent need for a sustainability focus. And this means properly integrating ESG, that's environmental, social, and governance factors, and ethical leadership principles into everything, into finance, into supply chain management, marketing. They recognize that modern business success just isn't measured purely by profit margin anymore. It has to be about holistic impact.
And the third transformation, which feels like it's happening everywhere, must be technology integration, right? AI, data science.
Precisely. Technology integration. This means making AI, data science, and digital strategy absolutely core parts of the program, not just, some elective specialization you can choose if you want. The big challenge here, though, is ensuring the curriculum doesn't just chase the latest tech buzzword, but actually train students to lead effectively in an AI-driven environment. That's a harder task.
This rapid evolution, it must be creating some friction, some challenges for these, let's face it, often very established, sometimes quite old institutions. What specific hurdles are they facing as they try to modernize?
Yeah, they definitely face common problems, including just the sheer difficulty of adapting their decades-old course structures and faculty expertise to rapid digital transformation. That's huge. Also, properly integrating sustainability factors across all courses, not just adding one ESG class, is difficult. And then there's the constant need to respond effectively to global economic shifts, geopolitical uncertainty, and also heightened competition from rising international players. And this global competition is very real. For instance, we're seeing institutions outside the traditional Western powerhouses demonstrate remarkable commitment to international standards. We noted the Indian Institute of Management, IIM Bangalore, making the QS Global MBA Rankings Top 100 for 2026. That really shows a commitment to providing international-level academic excellence in emerging economies. It's not just a U.S.-Europe game anymore.
Mm-hmm. So tying this all back to our opening thought, what's the ultimate metric for success here? What defines the best?
Well, Professor Andrew Cartwright of the London School of Economics, he summed it up quite nicely for us. He said, the best MBA schools don't just train managers, they also train leaders. The real value, the real metric, is the difference their graduates actually make globally. Whether that's launching a truly disruptive company in Silicon Valley or maybe leading ethical supply chain transformations in Southeast Asia, it's about impact.
That feels like a perfect synthesis of this deep dive. We started with a mission, and I think here are the key takeaways for you, the listener. Excellence is measured by those 5 criteria, from academic rigor all the way to global alumni power. The top schools, they have distinct specialties. Think INSEAD's 10-month international velocity versus, say, Stanford's deep entrepreneurial ecosystem. But above all, remember that personal fit, driven by your own geographic focus and your specific career goals, that should always outweigh raw rankings. So as you consider your next step and whether a particular school is truly equipped for the modern world, here's a final, maybe provocative thought for you to mull over. Considering these dramatic industry shifts we've discussed towards sustainability, towards AI integration, tomorrow's best MBA might not actually be the one with the most prestigious history. It might be the one that proves most able to rapidly change its curriculum today. So the question for you is, when you evaluate these schools, are you looking